Hey Hari,
Hey sir, how are you?
great. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm just doing good. We have all the work going on. So,
Okay,
who's will be joining?
yeah.
So, can we start? I mean, are we waiting for more people to join?
I think yes. Just a couple of minutes.
Okay.
We
Harinath would
can
be
wait
there.
for 2 more minutes and
Yeah,
Harinath, you are not audible.
we can wait for 2 more minutes and then we can start.
sure.
Okay, cool.
So Harimon and Aishwarya, has the college started giving you some assignments or what's going on?
Yes,
Not
so
yet, sir.
we got a couple of assignments in Ahmedabad, but yeah, it's kind of okay. The PlaceCom is really grilling with us. They
Okay,
have a lot of criteria. We're not able to handle it properly.
okay. And what all things? Like CV and everything has been started? Master
Yeah,
CV.
actually, we had this thing called profile book where we have to write a very small paragraph about ourselves so that they
Okay,
can give it to companies. So that's done from our part, and we are now in the process of CV proof collection and everything.
okay.
But I think Ahmedabad is actually better compared to other colleges. I mean, FMS and all have given huge assignments. They have,
FMS.
yeah, unrealistic assignments.
Okay. And what
They
about
have like
Calcutta?
Calcutta has been surprisingly chill so far. We have not
Okay,
started with anything yet. Yeah,
okay.
it's just the registration process that's going
Okay,
on
okay,
right.
okay. And
Yeah.
Namita, what about IFT?
Hello.
Yes,
Yeah, can
Namita.
you
yeah, you're audible.
hear? Yeah, so IFT has just been giving us assignments since the past 2 weeks or so, and
Okay.
it's like every day we'll have deadlines, and it's really hectic because I was going on with my work also, so managing
Okay.
both of that,
Oh,
something
when is
something
your
really
last day?
different anyway. The whole experience is different.
Sure. When is your last day?
This week actually Friday.
Oh,
Friday is my last date.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Good. Yes. Harinath, shall we start?
Yeah,
Prashant
am I
has.
audible?
Yes.
Yes, Hari, you're audible.
Okay.
So we can begin our session. So good evening all, and I hope that all of you are doing good and safe. And before we start our session, I request you to mute yourself for the time being. We will be having a Q&A session at the end, so you can clear all your doubts there. So there are always a set of questions or doubt whenever someone starts thinking of doing MBA. And I'm sure everyone present here, including the speakers, mentors, all may have faced that same difficulty. So today we will be trying to address most of those questions or doubts here. And I'm sure it will help you in finalizing your decisions about your preparations. And without any further delay, we will start with sharing the experiences of speakers who have joined top B schools in India recently. They are Hari Mohan, Aishwarya, and Namita, and all of them are my batchmates and CT 2008 graduates. Now they will take over the webinar from here and we'll talk about different aspects of CAT preparation and all. So guys, you're up.
Okay, Hari, thank you for that. Am I audible? Just confirming.
Yeah.
Okay, so hello everyone. First of all, sorry for taking this up on a Sunday evening. I'm sure you guys were planning on sitting back and relaxing. So we'll try to keep our monologues as concise as possible, and we can have the Q&A session extended as much as you like. So in the first half of this session, Aishwarya, me and Namita are going to discuss about the various sections in CAT and also some misconceptions that exist in CAT. So first I'll start with introductions. I'll start with myself. My name is Hari Mohan. I am an electronics graduate from the College of Engineering Trivandrum, batch of 2018. I worked with Wipro for the next 2 years, and in between this, CAT happened. I was able to secure 99.64 percentile in CAT, and I'm going to join IIM Ahmedabad this year. So that's pretty much about me. I guess Namita can introduce herself. Namita? Yeah.
Hi, can you hear? Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Hello. Okay, thank you, Hari. So coming to myself, I'm Namita George, and I am a CET 2018 pass out. I was also in applied electronics and instrumentation. I've been working with Wipro for the past 2 years as well. I was a VLSI project engineer, and the notice period just gets over this week. So I was involved in a lot of sports and other activities, and some of you might remember me from that as well. So right now I've taken admission in IAFT, Indian Institute of Foreign Trade in New Delhi, and the classes will be starting soon next week itself. So that's it about me. And yeah, so Aishwarya, I think you can go ahead.
Okay, all right. So, hi everyone. My name is Aishwarya. I come from Kochi. I am also a 2018 pass out from CET. In fact, we are all from the same class. So, I've been working with Bosch Bangalore for the past 2 years, and I secured a 99.63 percentile in CAT 2019, and I'll be joining IIM Calcutta this year. So the three of us hope to give all of you an idea about the different management exams, especially CAT. So as most of you might be already knowing, CAT consists of 100 questions and it comprises of 3 sections. The first one is the verbal ability and reading comprehension, VARC, which is basically English. Then data interpretation and logical reasoning, DILR, and quantitative ability, QA, that's basically maths. So I think Namita can speak about her preparation strategy in VARC, considering she has been a 99.68 percentile in the same section. So over to you.
Just one point here in between. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to ask the audience that how many of you already know these 3 students? Because these are CET graduates only. So please at least write in the comment box, or at least unmute yourself and say yes if you know these 3 people. I'm sure many of you would be knowing them. You can use chat to say anything you want to, or maybe to ask anything.
Hello, can you hear?
Actually,
No.
embarrassing how
I think I'm facing some issues with my.
Okay. Yeah, maybe a few of them are already past graduates and they are working. That might be one of the reason. No one knows them? Anyone here in the audience? Like usually in our undergrad college, people at least used to know their alumni or the past students who are doing well, have been selected in some place. Okay. Yeah, Nitin. Can you go on mute? Thank you. Yeah, let's continue.
Okay, is Namita still here? I think she had to cut off from the call.
Okay.
All right. Then maybe Hari can talk about DILR for the time being. And we'll wait for her to join. Yeah.
Okay, so I won't be talking about VARC because I should definitely not be giving you any tips on that. I was able to secure 99.1 percentile in DILR. So let's talk about that. DILR is basically a kind of like a logical puzzle section in CAT. You will have 8 number of questions, which will have 4 sub questions, a total of 32 questions based on particular, let's say, puzzles, and you will have a specific data given which you have to interpret, something in that line. So it's a very tricky section, given that I don't think anyone is able to solve all the questions in DLR. The time is so constrained. So the thing that you should understand is DLR is equally difficult for everyone. And based on statistics, if you are able to solve 3 questions in DLR, you will be able to get a 95 percentile in DLR. 4 questions would be somewhere around 98 plus, which is really good. 5 questions will be among the toppers, 99.5 plus, and if you're able to solve 6 questions, you will be a potential 100 percentiler in the ALR. So basically your target should be somewhere between maybe say 4 or 6 sets, and that would mean that you will have like you can solve this question maybe in 20 minutes. Even in that case, you'll be solving 3 questions and will be able to clearing all the cutoff. So the first thing that I would like to say is it's okay to spend a lot of time on each of the sets. I mean, you can take around 10 to 20, 10 to 15 or 8 to 15 minutes to solve each set, which would be kind of ideal. And even if you are able to practice in that level, you will be able to secure a good percentile. In terms of DILR, I think the integral part of solving this section is to be as calm as possible, and the time pressure or the clock should not be of our worry. So we should be able to ignore the clock and do our brainstorming on the given time. So this comes definitely through practice. You should be able to get you take a lot of mocks and solve a lot of DILR questions in this part. And another thing is, this might sound stupid, but the thing is there are 4 questions for each set, and you should really convince yourself that these 4 questions can be answered by the given data. I mean, during this process, you will start to feel like it's not going to be possible. How can you answer this question with the given data? And you will start giving up, but this should not happen. I mean, this particular strategy helped me. I used to convince myself that this is possible. So I kept on brainstorming, and you never know when you will be able to solve a set. So this kind of giving yourself confidence and ignore the clock. That's about DILR. So yeah, I guess I'll pass on to next. If you have any doubts in DILR, you can ask in the Q&A session. Yeah, I see Namita has joined back, so maybe she can talk about VARC. Namita, are you there?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, so sorry for that. My net just went in between.
You're not audible, Namita.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, she's audible.
Okay, that was my best. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so coming on to VARC, it is verbal ability and reading comprehension. It's basically the English section of our CAT section. And you have around, again, the standard 34 number of questions, and you have like 5 passages, 5 RC passages, which will have around 5 questions each. And then you have the verbal ability, which will have jumbled sentences or paragraph completion, sentence completion. So those are the kind of questions you can expect for VARC. Now, the thing about VARC, if it is your cup of tea, then you can really score a lot of marks. It is something that can really boost your total score as well, which is something that I was able to do for IFT, because IFT is low section cutoffs, and it all depends on how much you can maximize your score. So if you can really improve on VARC, that is a section that can really boost your total score. Now, the strategy that I used for VARC was, initially I'd go through the RC passages and then I'd go through VA, because RC itself would have around 25 questions. And once you read the passage itself, if you read the passage really well, you should be able to answer them. And answer them with accuracy as well, because you can also get a lot of negative marking initially. But if you keep practicing it, once you get the knack of it, really you can score a lot. That you get over time with practice. It's not something that you can get it very easily, because jumbled sentences and all, there's a lot of options, and you can tend to go wrong. So what I used to do is I'd go through the easy verbal ability questions in the beginning, the first 5 minutes or so, and then I used to spend my time RC. And the RCs, what I used to do is I used to first just go through the passage really quickly, then go through the questions, and then go back to the passage to see where these answers for the questions can be. So in that way, you can maximize the number of questions that you're in, as well as the accuracy. So that's the strategy that I use for VARC, and should be helpful for all of the English-based sections that you have for your different exams. Yeah, so that's about VARC. I think we can go on to the next section.
Yeah, okay. So the third section is quantitative ability, which is my favorite section. I believe that a difficult to comprehend RC passage or a difficult LR sets can increase your stress levels, and this affects your performance in the respective sections a lot. But quantitative ability is a section where you can actually reflect your level of preparedness. So the result is quite proportional to the amount of work that you've put in while preparing for QA. So coming to my preparation strategy, what I did was, there are a different number of subtopics or chapters into which the syllabus of QA is divided. So I used almost 2 to 3 months just to prepare these topics one by one, and I was able to see a very steady progress in the marks I score in this section in my mock exams. So taking mock is also very important. Analyzing each question, we can understand what went wrong, and even if we got the question right, we can analyze what would have been a better approach or what would have been a quicker method. So yeah, this is about my preparation strategy in quant. So what started off as around 20 or 30 score in this section ended up in 70s, and I was able to score a 99.6 in this section. So I really believe that a dedicated approach to this section can really boost your marks in CAT. So yeah, that'd be about the 3 sections. So I think all of us have talked about the importance of mocks to some extent. I'd like to ask Namita to talk a little more about it, what her takeaways were from this, from her mocks. Namita? She there?
Namita, I think you're on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So sorry, I had to disconnect again. So where are we right now?
We were talking about the importance of mocks.
Right. Okay. So the problem most people that they face while doing CAT or any other exam is you think that you know the format, you know the pattern, but unless you practice these mocks and develop your own strategy, it's not going to work for you. So all of us can talk, each of us can talk about the strategies that we had employed for ourselves because we know our strengths and weakness. But unless you analyze the mocks, that you analyze and do the mocks yourself, you will not be able to understand what is your strong point or your weaknesses. So in addition, depending on that, it should help you improve your marks. And also we can tell you something that we do this or we do that. You can try to use all of these methods in your mock exams when you give the mocks, but then eventually you should be able to develop your own strategy on how to solve all of these different mocks. And the importance of the mocks is when it comes to the analysis part. So you have the time constraint, you're giving all of these, you're answering all of these questions within the time constraint, which is very important. And then after that, it's the analysis part. So you might go through you might attempt a problem in a particular way, but only when you analyze the mock, you can realize that there'll be a much easier way to do it. So these things, only when you practice, you'll get the knack of it. And eventually, at a point, when you do all of these number of mocks, at the end of it, you should be able to understand. When you see the question itself, you'll be able to understand, okay, this is the way that I should do it. And it should seem familiar. So in that way, you should be able to maximize the number of questions that you're doing, improve the episode has their different mocks as well. They have different sectional questions and sectional where they focus on the different sections. So that will help you improve your sectional marks as well as the overall score. So that is what is the importance of mock, and we all had initially joined different coaching institutes to improve upon that. Yeah. So Aishwarya, you can go on with carry on.
I guess I'll talk next. I'm sure that if you guys have started preparing for CAT, you would have known that CAT is not the only criterion for selection or the interview calls. I mean, your academic history will also be considered during the whole process. And I'm sure that most of you have heard that if you don't have, say, a 7.5 or if you have a 6 GPA in your college, then it's not practical to write CAT. There are so many misconceptions going on. So I'm here to paint the real picture to you. In my opinion, if you're preparing for CAT or any other entrance exam, if you're preparing to join a B school, you should be targeting one of the top 20 B schools in the country. So there are n number of IIMs, and there are also some other colleges. And painting the real picture to you, if you do not have a decent GPA, or say, let's say if you don't have a 7.5 or an 8 in your college, then it would be very difficult to get into two of these colleges. That is IIM Ahmedabad and IIM Bangalore. But I can say that in most of the other colleges, and in the remaining 18 colleges in the top 20, at least 15 of them does not care about your graduation. it's not like they don't care. They have very low weightage for the graduation score. And I can say that there are these top 6 IIMs, such as Bangalore, Ahmedabad, Kolkata, Lucknow, Kozhikode, and Indore. In this, there are 2 IIMs, Kozhikode and Indore, that does not care about your graduation. I mean, even if you are a 6-pointer or a 9-pointer, Kozhikode and Indore considers you as the same person, and they just give more importance to CAT. Even Lucknow has a very small weightage to the academic background, and then there's always the sweetest college of all, IIM Calcutta, who does not care about anything. They just look at your CAT percentile. If you have an 80, 80, 60, that's 18, 10th, 18, 12th, and a 16 graduation, you're good enough for IIM Calcutta unless you have such a high percentile. So in my opinion, a good academic history would be, say, 19, 19, 10th and 12th, and maybe a 7 in college. That would work. And even if you don't have one of these, you can always prepare for CAT and get, I mean, your CAT score must be inversely proportional to your academic performance. So that is how it's working. Nothing is impossible. I mean, even if you have a very low profile, it is possible to get into a very stringent college like IIM Bangalore. So you don't have to worry a lot about your academic criterion. You can always see these policies in different IIM's websites. And the only thing you should really worry about is CAT and perform the best in that exam. So that is my take on academic performance, academic history, and its importance in the preparation. So who's talking next? Is there anyone who?
I think I'll talk, yeah. Yeah, so another thing that we often hear about is how a person scored a 99 percentile and he never got any call from any of the top B schools. So what I'd like to say about this is a 99 percentile means that you are among the top 2000 performers in CAT. Every year we have approximately 2 lakh test takers in CAT, and you are among the top 1%. So even after that, if you're not securing even one call, I think there may be 2 reasons behind it. One is, as Hari has said, academic history and work experience is a little important. And if it is pretty bad, then there are chances that you might not get a call. But I think the main reason, or the most common reason behind this, is that most people don't apply to different colleges that they might be eligible for. They stick on to the top 3 IIMs or top 6 IIMs. They are not aware of the other B schools that are at par with these IIMs. I think Namita can talk more about the other management B school examinations, and yeah, so over to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Arya. So one of the reasons why I can actually talk about this is because I've gotten to IFT. So IFT is a separate set of examination compared to the CAT. And there are several other colleges on par, like she had mentioned, with the IIMs. Now, IIMs do have their tag, their brand value, and that is not something that you can ignore. That is acceptable. But when once you go in field or in the business world, at the top positions, there are many people who actually come from these different colleges as well. So maybe in the layman's term, on the layman, in the ground level, there'll be a lot of people who know about the IIMs. But as you go higher up in term, these other colleges also are equally as good as the IIM, and some of them would include like the IIFT, or you have SP Jain. SP
Namita, I think you are not audible.
It's very famous. It is almost as in the top 3 itself. It comes in among the top 3 as well. So you have the ZAT for that, and it is famous for its business management as well as HR. In fact, the best college that is known so these are the separate examinations that you might need to give. Like there's some others also include Symbiosis. You have SNAP and MAT for those. So these exams, you should make sure that in addition to CAT, you just focus on CAT. You need to also give these other examinations in case you want to secure your admission for MBA, because most of the time what happens is everyone is so focused on CAT, and then maybe there could be some, due to some unforeseen circumstances, and you could mess up CAT, or because of your academic history, you're not aware that you might not be able to get into the good colleges. So you're anything in prepare or not prepared, you apply to these colleges and you give these different examinations. You always have these so many options. Okay, I have a message here. Was not audible. Other examination. Okay, I'll repeat. So what I was talking about is that CAT is not the only way, that there are other examinations, for example, of XAT, and you have Symbiosis, they have SNAP exam. Then there's TISNET for the TIS, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, but it's also famous for HR. And there's then what is the exam you give to enter into MICA. So these examinations, why I'm telling it's very important is because they are all famous in their respective domains, or they're equally as good when you come so many people from these college organizations. So people recognize these colleges as well. They have really good alumni and they have a good faculty base, they have good working relations. And at the end of the day, that's what MBA is all about. It's about the different learnings that you get. So you should make sure that these examinations, you don't lose out on them. You don't lose out on chances that you can get for the examinations as well. And IFT, for example, my college, it's famous for international business and trade. So just make sure that in addition to that, you are eye open for these examinations, these colleges. Many of the application processes happen before the CAT gets over. And once CAT gets over, you can't do it. So just keep this in mind as well. Yeah, so that's it about the different colleges.
All right. So after the management examination, once you get shortlisted for the phase 2 of the selection process, there comes your interview, your written ability test or GD. So talking about this, I think all three of us felt extremely underprepared and doubtful about this part because we were not up to date about the current scenarios of the world, or we were really bad at GK. So that's when we all decided to join Prep Zone. So what Prep Zone gave us was an amazing peer group where everybody was eager discussions about a variety of topics on a daily basis. These not only helped us gain knowledge in the various fields, which helped us in VAT, it also instilled a certain confidence, a self-confidence in us to go and sit in front of the interviewers and to actually feel confident about it. So of course, nobody can prepare you on all kinds of questions that can be asked in an interview, because an interview can, I mean, you cannot predict what is going to happen, because I've had all kinds of interviews. I've had a very technically driven interviews that are purely based on my work ex. I've also had an interview where I was asked very unconventional questions like, would Gandhiji make a good software developer, or name 5 uses of a stapler which does not have a pin. So I believe these kinds of questions, I don't think we can anticipate them, but what is important is to face them with confidence and be genuine. I think basically what interviews are looking is for a good personality, is for a genuine person, and a person who is willing to understand their mistakes and who is eager to learn. So yeah, that's it about interview process. Hari, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, thank you, Aishwarya. Yeah, I would like to add another thing is like I see this in many aspirants. I mean, they have a doubt whether this is a good time to do an MBA. I mean, considering the market crash and the COVID situation, we see very bad numbers in stock markets and everything. So this is just a slight analysis from my side. So what I think is happening is that because of the COVID situation, many industries have gone down. Like every one of us know, with the travel agencies, the hotel departments, all of these are at a very they're all-time low. So considering the situation, we are facing a recession, and this is going to end up in a lot of layoffs. A company called Airbnb, I think they fired around 75% of their employees through a Zoom call. So there are many layoffs happening. And in my opinion, what's happening now is all of these well-established companies, they have something called micromanagement. They have managers at every stage of their, every levels of employment. So what's happening is when they want to lower their expenses, what they're trying to do is they want to cut off these highly paid managers to gain some, to lower their losses. So this kind of firing, it might happen right now. So if this is a good time to complete a graduation from an MBA and to enter the world, definitely no, this is a very bad time for that. But in my opinion, thinking of in a very optimistic way, probably the vaccine might come out in maybe 6 months or maybe in a year, and from that the economy might start reviving. And by the time you guys pass out, that will be in 2023 or so, the situation will be stable, and they will have to make up all the firing that is happening right now. I mean, they'll have a lot of new intakes in technical side, and they will have a lot of managers. So the demand for managers is going to surge by 2023 beginning or so, if you think in an optimistic manner. So I would say this is a perfect time to do an MBA, because you can skip this kind of the surges that's going to happen in all the industries. You'll have to work a lot if you join a company right now. So you can conveniently skip this and do an MBA, get some skills, and get back to an economy that is pretty stable. So this is my opinion on, it's a good time to do an MBA. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Is there anything Aishwarya or Namita would like to add? Hello?
I think we have addressed most of the questions that we had thought about. So maybe we can hand it over to Shubham sir and Prashant sir.
Okay. Okay, so if you guys have anything, you can ask in the Q&A session. Yeah, Hari, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, guys, for your insights into CAT preparations and other management exams and all, and also about like breaking the myths about CAT exams and other aspects of preparations. So moving to the next part of our webinar, as you all might have already noticed the prep zone in the poster. So some of you will already know about prep zone, and there will be some people who won't be aware of the name prep zone. So I will give you a brief intro about the prep zone. It's an initiative by IIM Calcutta alumnus, and 2019 was prep zone's maiden batch, and the results proved their excellence, and they like outdid many of the already established ones in the field, and over 25 students scored above 95 percentile. These are all like facts and figures about prep zone, and you can check it anywhere. And there is a thing called conversion percentage, like number of people who get the call and who actually get enrolled into that college, and that percentage stands at 507, with 90% of students joining their dream B schools. So since I have talked about the prep zone, and it's as I have already stated that it's an IIM Calcutta initiative, next speaker for this webinar will be the founder himself, Shubham sir. He is a IIT IIM alumnus. Other than that, he has worked with Paytm and has been faculty in Time and an Academy. So Shubham sir, can you please take over?
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Arinath, for the introduction. Am I audible, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Sure. So yeah, I think one of you has asked about different B schools and different competitive exams, which I think Namita has also mentioned. So even in our experience of dealing with students, we have come across certain students who are not even aware of other competitive exams. So while Prashant sir would be speaking about that in his later slides, we have also started this initiative where we post details about different B schools. So I think so far we have posted details about IIM ABC, Lucknow, Indore, Kuweko, MDI, FMS, and so on and so forth. And we'll be at least covering all the tier 1 and tier 2 B schools. Details as in what are the placement stats, what is the gender diversity, which competitive exam do you need to take to get admission in this particular school, and so on and so forth. So you can refer to all of these on our Facebook page by the name of MBA Prep Zone, or on the Facebook group by the name of Prep Zone. After this, we'll also be moving on the different competitive exams, and we'll give you each and every detail that is required about every single B school competitive exams that happens in India. So I think that is pretty much about the question that was raised. Then now I can just brief you about Prep Zone and what is our offering. So if you are preparing for CAT this year or maybe next year, what is it that you should keep in mind, and why should you look after Prep Zone? So let me just share my screen. Is it visible, guys? Let me know if you can see the screen.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir,
it's visible now.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So guys, we are also tying up with different engineering schools across India. And so far we have tied up with 3 to 4 B schools involving some of the IITs. And next, we also wanted to have a long-term collaboration with CET, because we had 3 of our students who have performed tremendously well in the past CAT year and have been joining these schools like IIM Ahmedabad, Calcutta, IFT, which is the dream of many of you, I'm sure. So yes, I'll just very quickly brief you about what this course and everything is all about, and then Prashant sir would speak more about why should you do MBA and what are the other career options that you have as an option for you. So yes, this is basically a work from home package, because as we all are sitting idle at our home, working from home, hence all the offline coaching institutes are currently not functioning as expected, and hence our program is basically completely online. The MRP of this full CAT course is basically 12,999, but we are tying up with different B schools, and only for the top engineering colleges we'll be giving them a discount of 3,000. And the full course, which involves all the sections, full syllabus, assignments, and the mock series, everything would be available to you at a price of 9,999 only. You just have to apply this code, Prep Zone Special, and you'll be eligible for this code only if you belong to these top engineering colleges. So let me, yeah. So yes, before I proceed, a very brief introduction about who are we. I think Harinath has already introduced myself. Yes. So what do? We guys basically not only help you with the CAT preparation, but we are essentially into the entire supply chain. We help you with the CAT preparation. After CAT, the second big step is your GDPR preparation. So we are one of the best online mentors across India that we can very confidently say based on our results and stats, which would be there in the later part of the slides. Then once you guys basically complete GDPR, you convert your dream B school, you basically go to say IIM Ahmedabad or Bangalore. The next big thing which you have in your mind is to make your CV. You can ask any of the B school graduates, how hectic is this drafting a master CV of 5-page and then getting onto the 1-pager short CV is. So we also help you with those CV reviews. Then the later part is your internships, case competitions, and your final placement preparation. All of this are under our purview, where we help students. And once you are essentially a part of the Prep Zone family, there is no way that we don't stay in touch with you. So I think Namita, Aishwarya, and Hari Mohan, these guys have been in touch with, I think, most of the mentors, and we still have a lot of interactions, though they have already joined their Dream B schools. Then these are our snippet. We started in 2019. In 2019, we had an intake of 100 students, out of which 85 students have joined their Dream B schools. And out of 100 students, we had 472 converts. This batch of 2020 has broken our own maiden record and had 507% conversion result. And this year, out of 100 students, 90 students would be joining their Dream B schools. So only 10 students are the ones who are repeating, and they have joined our CAT batch because of certain things which has happened in between, and hence they'll be taking a drop this year. Now, the earlier was the GDPR stats. The next is the CAT stat. We had one batch last year of CAT, and these are the stats of it. The USP of our batches is that the batch size is very, very limited. We only take maximum of 50 students in a batch, so that we can give personal and full attention to each and every student. So you'll be staying in touch with us, I think, throughout the day, and probably for the span of 6 to 7 months. And hence, these are the results. The highest percentiler was Moaz, who scored 99.91, and 90% of the students scored above 85 percentile, and 25 students scored above 95 percentile. You can refer to all of these facts and figures on the website as well, which is by the name of myprepzone.com. And these are the testimonials of what students have written and given a feedback about the Prep Zone. You can refer to this website. Next is, of course, the first thing that is very common is there are certain online and offline coaching institutes, but then what is it that makes Prep Zone so different? So the pedagogy which we follow here at Prep Zone is, will basically have all the live sessions online by the faculty. Live sessions can be of a span of 2 to 3 hours, and hence that helps you to make your foundation very strong. Once the foundation is done, then comes the marathon round, which is we basically give you assignment of each and every topic, and those assignments are then taken up in the class and then doubts are discussed. So that is the marathon round. And third is the analysis. We have our mock portal, which basically uses artificial intelligence and machine learning to give you detailed insight of what are the areas and topics you are very weak in. And then it also recommends you different tests which you can take based on your performance. So this is the pedagogy which we are following here at Prep Zone. Yes, a teaching methodology is unique. Then personalized attention, I've already spoken about this. Yes. Next is the faculty profile. So I think in my later slides, I'll give you a brief about different faculty. I think Prashant sir is already here, but the other faculty have classes going on currently, so they could not join us in the webinar. But yes, all the faculty are either IIM ABC graduates, or they are the experienced faculty, 5-year experience, 10-year experienced faculty of Time, Endeavor, IMS, Career Launcher. So hence these faculties themselves want to do some sort of revolution in the online education, and hence have joined Prep Zone and are currently working with the students. Next is easy to connect mentors. Talking about myself, I graduated from IIM Calcutta in 2018. So there is not much of an age group difference. We are what I think 2 to 3 years elder to you. Hence you will find us very connecting to each and every student. So you can talk us about anything, be it your personal problem, relationship problem, or maybe academics problem, family problem, whatever you want to speak to us, just drop us some text. But yes, do speak to us so that we can help you revisit your strategy. And yes, I think that is pretty much. Now let me very quickly brief you about the batch 3 offerings that is currently going on. So if any of you is still preparing or planning to prepare for CAT, which should be there in the month of November or December, CAT notifications are not yet out. I think you can have a look at this batch. Live sessions, I've already spoken. All the sessions happen on Zoom. So if you miss any of the session, these sessions are also recorded on the Facebook group, and you will have an access to all the sessions. So you can attend any session from any corner of the world. Then timings are the night timings. All the classes happen from 9 to 11 p.m. only. So even if you're working, I don't think time would be an issue for you. Regular assignments. After every topic, you basically get an assignment. Course duration should be end in a span of 3 months. And faculty profile would be there in the next slide. Also, I talked about the artificial intelligence and machine learning mocks portal, right? So that is this Hustle Pro mock series. It is worth rupees 2499 for the external students, but for all of you who would join us for the full course batch, this would be included as a part of the batch. Personalized performance tracker is, so here, for instance, Prashant sir, he himself log into your mock portal of IMS Time, and then he'll be helping you with devising strategy of your mocks. So every single mock you basically take, you'll be speaking with us, and then we'll be doing a one-on-one personalized tracking of your performance. Strong peer group, I'm sure you all understand. So I think in the era of an aspirant, content is not really an issue, but what is an issue is a disciplined peer group and a very systematic schedule that, like, you have to have daily targets of your preparation. Content is quite readily available across the public forum. But what makes us different is that strong peer group and a bunch of mentors who gives you daily schedule. And then they'll be really after you if you don't follow the deadlines. Deadlines would be definitely sacrosanct here. Weekly doubt classes, every Sunday you can just pick up your phone and dial me, Prashant sir, or maybe any of the faculty. Just drop us a text that okay, you want to speak to us. And Sunday is basically doubt classes where you can solve any of your doubts with us. And full-time support, yes, that goes without saying. So yes, here's the much awaited faculty profile. First is myself, Shubham Ramka. I graduated from IIMCAL and IIT Gandhinagar. That is my credential. I wrote CAT 15, scored 99.65, and yes, that's pretty much. Next is Rajat Singh. He is a past faculty of Endeavor. I'm sure you would have heard about Endeavor. It is a coaching institute, and he has worked with Unacademy. He has scored 99.5 plus percentile multiple times, and he will be taking care of QA and DIR. Next is Jay Palnetkar, who has graduated from MDI, and he has also worked with IMS, and he'll be taking care of your verbal. Though he is a master person across all the three sections, but yes, he primarily teaches verbal. However, he is a helping hand in QA, DLR as well as VA. Next is Abhilasha ma'am. She is the lady luck of PrepZone, who has 21 years of humongous experience of teaching students. She herself has scored 9 times 99.99 percentile in verbal, and she helps you with the verbal doubts. Next is the GK enthusiast, who is also the quiz master, who is Prashant Singh Chauhan. I think he'll be speaking the next. And he is the best person to go to if you have any queries about any college. You want to ensure that, okay, which college do you take? This is your profile. This is your 10th, 12th. How much should you score, etc., etc. So for any sort of B school counseling, go to Prashant Singh Chauhan. And next is Shiv Parashar. He is also the helping hand who helps you with the B school college queries. So I think these 6 are the permanent members of PrepZone. And yeah, that's pretty much. Then these are the links of Facebook group and YouTube channel. I'm sure you all can just Google PrepZone and can refer to it. Harinath, I think I'm done. Guys, if you have any questions, we can discuss it in the Q&A, or you can even drop me a text now or maybe in the chat box.
So, okay, now over to the penultimate part of our webinar. So the next speaker is Prashant sir, whom Shubham sir has already introduced, one of the core members of the team PrepZone, and he is currently working for one of the Indian conglomerates, but mentoring students is his passion. This is proven by the fact that he has now mentored over 1,000 students to live their B school dreams, and it really sounds amazing, right? So Prashant sir, can you take over from here?
Yeah, thanks Harish for introducing me. So I think we have already talked a lot about CAT. So I'm not sure we should have talked CAT first, and then I'm going to talk why should we do MBA, because when Hari Mohan came to us, so he was not sure why to do MBA. So we should know that why we are going to do MBA, then we should go ahead and how to prepare. So first I want to share my screen. So I think that
Prashant, I think your face is not visible, and I'm sure people would want to at least see how do you look. So
I think that is creating because of background.
yeah.
Yeah, Hari, can you enable my screen sharing?
It's enabled now. Please check.
Yeah. So I want to first ask, like, what is the common link between all these 4 people? So I think Hari Mohan will be knowing at least 2 of them, because these 2 everyone knows that they come from IIM Ahmedabad. But anyone knows who all these 2 people are in the rightmost? Anyone? Namita, do you know who these 2 people are in the right? And I think they are the very popular figures in India. So
I think yeah, 2-3 students have responded in chat, Prashant. Harsha, Chetan, Mani.
Yeah.
Okay. I think no one knows the last one, the aged people.
No, I think this person, Shyam Krishnan has already replied. So Mani Ratnam, they know.
Yes.
Everyone knows all four people like now. So, but one thing is common, they all four are MBA. So Harsha Bhogle, everyone knows he's coming from Ahmedabad. Then Chetan Bhagat, I'm Ahmedabad graduate. But people hardly know that Mani Ratnam is also a MBA graduate, and he graduated from JBIMS, Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies, Mumbai. And it is one of the top most college in India, but people hardly know that college. And Siddharth. So Siddharth is also a MBA graduate, and he's a very popular actor, and he's passed out on SPJAN Institute of Management, Mumbai. So why I have put these pictures to tell you that people who are doing the MBA, so they get the safety net, and even after doing the MBA, they're living their dreams of their creativity. So they have aspired for something, they went to do MBA. After that, they took risk, and now they are doing totally different things. So it is not the case that if you are going to do MBA, then you can't switch from one field to another field. So if I take example of Mr. Harsha Bhogle, so it's very difficult. You're not coming from a cricket background and you become so popular in like cricket field. You haven't played even a single match. Even then, everyone, whoever is a cricket fan, even not a cricket fan, if you have listened him once, you will become his fan. So he's known for his articulation skills and his impeccable knowledge about cricket. So the main thing that I liked about him, that he's very good speaker, and the knowledge which he has, and I see him like one of the most inspirational speakers that I've ever heard in my life. So you need to decide which thing you need to become in your life. So these are the few of the example, like Azim Premji, MS Banga, Anil Ambani, Harsha Bhogle, Mallika Sarabhai, and Naina Kidwai. So these all people are coming from business field, but people hardly know Mallika Sarabhai. So she was one of the founding members of IIM Ahmedabad. So she started this field. So if you want to become like Azim Premji, so Azim Premji is known for his CSR initiative. So if you want to contribute to the society, first you need to create your wealth, only then you can contribute to the society. MS Banga, he's heading the MasterCard. So everyone knows only two things, Visa or MasterCard. If you have to pay across the globe, either you have to go with Visa or MasterCard. You don't have any third option. Anil Ambani, so Anil Ambani is not known for good reasons now, but he's also an MBA from outside America. So, but still he has tried something. So why I kept this example, so that you can know that all MBAs are not very successful. Even he has inherited very good wealth. He has done his MBA from like Wharton University, but still he's not able to perform very well. But one thing you should learn from him, that he has took risk. He has invested in telecom sector. He has invested in defense sector. But now his things are not working for him. But people should take risk. Harsha Bhogle, I already talked. And when it comes to MBA, so it's good that we have two females and one male here. So like Namita and Aishwarya. So we have a diversity factor of 6.66 here. So that is good part to have. But here we have only two people out of 6 examples. So Naina Kidwai, she used to head Axis Bank. So she's I am Ahmedabad alumnus. So that's why I kept that if you have aspired to become something, so these people you should must read, because they have some good qualities, and at least pick up one good qualities from them. If I have to took like CSR initiatives from, so it will be Azim Premji. If I have to take risk taking courage, so I'll take from Anil Ambani, not from Mukesh Ambani. So, and I have to, if I have to take my public speaking skills, I'll try to become like Mr. Harsha Bhogle. Okay. So what all jobs option we have from after few people who have already graduating from like these engineering college. So we have one option to do a job in a public sector that we can do from IBPS, clearing IBPS. Second option is to get a job in a railway that they conduct their own exam. Crores of people apply for these jobs. After that, we have central government job that we crack from SSCs and other exams. And last one is class 1 jobs like IAS, IRS, IPS that we crack from UPSC. But still, we are not so much attracted toward these jobs. Even few people who crack UPSC, they come for MBA. Why these people are coming from MBA? So these are few of the reasons. It's almost impossible for everyone to get into these government jobs because these jobs are very less. Like if you take the SSC example, you will get 20 to 30,000 jobs, and almost 20 to 30 crore people apply for these jobs. So it's almost impossible to get these jobs for everyone. Second option, like if you take the example of a TCS. So TCS, even now is paying only 3.16 L per annum. So it's very difficult to survive if you are posted in some cities like Mumbai in just small packages like this. So private jobs after graduation is very ill paid. And even after people crack these jobs, they do job for 2-3 years and they start preparing for CAT. So these options are not so attractive. So why should one do MBA? So MBA helps in personality development that I already told that in the case of Mr. Chetan Bhagat or Harsha Bhogle. So Chetan Bhagat is not known for his MBA now, but what MBA did to them that they have very good personality. Now they know how to sell their books. Now they know how to. This helps their personality development. Second option is develop entrepreneurship skills. Suppose that if you have some idea in your mind and if you are looking for some like-minded people, or if you are looking for some funding. So if you have a tag from I'm Ahmedabad or I'm Bangalore, so it become very easy or easy up to some extent to get a funding from these people. So if you take example of any unicorn, like if you take example of Flipkart, so these people coming from good colleges. So it's become very easy to get the funding. MBA helps you in open the door for top hierarchy. So suppose that if you are doing MBA, so you'll be joining a low-level management, and in coming 5 to 10 years, you'll be moving to mid-level management or high-level management. If you want to become vice president or director of a company, so MBA opens the door of those things. MBA helps you in choose new career path. Suppose that you have graduated from your CET and you have already worked for 1 or 2 years and you want to come out of IT or the job that you are doing. So MBA will going to certainly help you. You can change your career path. And that I already told that after just graduating, you are not going to get good paid. So once you are doing MBA, you will be getting a good salaries and your employability will also increase. So what exactly is required that these three people, Hari, Namita and Aishwarya, already told that how to prepare, but I'll also discuss that good aptitude. So people think that you need to solve math question. No, it's not a math question. They just check on your aptitude. So if I have to solve the geometry questions, people think that these are very difficult questions, but if your concepts are clear, then you can easily crack these exams. Then clarity of thoughts. So that's why I kept those 2 slides in the starting set. So you should know that whom you want to aspire or whom you want to become. If I have to become a billionaire, then I have to start my own business now. Otherwise, I am not going to become a billionaire after 20 years. So these type of thought clarity you should have in your life. Suppose that if you want totally secure life, then only one thing you have to do, either you go to a government job or get some secure job. But these type of clarity of thoughts you should have in your mind. Decent communication skills, people confuse it with when you talk to them that sir, I am not able to speak good English. Will I be able to crack these interviews or crack these schools. Yeah, you can crack if you can just communicate your ideas. I have seen like people with not so good speaking, like English speaking skills, cracking these B schools only because they can communicate what they are thinking, what they have in their mind. So suppose if you can communicate your thing, you can crack these exams or interviews very well. And last thing is like confidence. So do whatever things you have thought, you have dreamt, but show your confidence in that. If you don't have a confidence what you are saying, what you are doing, then you are not going to lead anywhere. These things will not going to take you anywhere. And that's, I always say that common sense is not so common these days in India. People don't use their common brain. So suppose you want to become a billionaire, or you want to earn 10 lakh per month after 10 years. So for that, you need to start from now. You can't be sleeping in your home for 10 years and then come out and someone will come and pay you 10 lakhs per month. So for these things, you just need an intelligence. Every one of you have some intelligence in you. Only thing you need to figure out in which areas you are strong and what you want to become in future. So few of the MBA entrance exams. So CAT, everyone knows, they are taken by IIMs, and few other colleges like MDI, FMS also accept scores from CAT. Second one, your JAT. JAT is mainly for Excelrai. If you want to aspire Excelrai Jamshedpur, then you need to appear for that for sure. Third one is their IFT. IFT, they have their own exam. So IFT have 2 campuses now. One is in Delhi, one is in Kolkata. So maybe Kakinada will open in next year. This year they have planned, but I don't think this year they are going to open this. SNAP is for Symbiosis. So Symbiosis is mainly, they have campuses in Pune, Bangalore, Hyderabad, and one campus in Nasik, Maharashtra also. And MAT is for NMIMS Mumbai. So they take their own exam. So their main campus is in Mumbai. Second one is Bangalore, and third one is in Hyderabad. So these three colleges, you need to appear for NMAT. I think NMAT notifications are already out for this year. So if someone is aspiring for NMAT, so they can write these exams. And last not the least, so ISB Hyderabad is known for 1 year MBA, and they accept only GMAT. So if you want to do MBA, then GMAT is the only thing you need to write. Few MBA colleges, so I have kept only top 10. So first one is Ahmedabad, then Bangalore, Calcutta, I'm Lucknow, FMS, Excelrai, I'm Kozhikode, I'm Indore, MDI Gurgaon, and FT Delhi. So first top 3 are Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta. So few people even leave Ahmedabad for Bangalore, few people leave Bangalore for Ahmedabad. So like this, there is a swapping in all 3. It depends on which college you want to join. After this, Lucknow, FMS, Excelrai, so they come in a single bucket. So few people like FMS, few people like Lucknow. And Kozhikode is your own state college. Yeah.
Yes. I think we can also add SPGen and ISB in this list.
Yeah, ISB and ISB I haven't kept because ISB is told for 1 year MBA, and SPGen is having a totally different type of criteria. That's why I dropped those colleges.
Okay.
So Kozhikode is your own, like one of the most beautiful campuses across globe, not only in India. So it's the most beautiful campus in India and one of the most beautiful campus across globe. So Kozhikode is known for that. One of the most, and it comes in a top 5, 6 IIMs also. So I think Hari Mohan has already discussed that is it the right time to do MBA in this crisis situation. So yeah, so if you are not having a job, suppose that you have left your job or you are still searching, it's a very difficult time to get these jobs. So it's a good time to start your preparation and get into B School, because if you are going to start your preparation now, you are going to be good. You can crack these schools in 5 or 6 months if you are going to dedicate most of your time in preparation only. Second one, there is a disruptions across industries. So because of the disruption, there is a totally change in a business model. So now you can see that Uber and Ola, they are not getting that much of business. So maybe they will be focusing on some other things. So the industries, companies are not going to function like before. So they will become lean. So they are not going to hire more people. So, and people joining after these difficult time will have an edge over others. So once you join the B schools, you are not going to taught like this. So now we are having a totally online classes, so their experience is totally different. So same thing you are going to also work once you are going to join, because even me and Shubham, we are more not sitting and working. Our productivity may go down once we are, because we are habitual of going offices and working. But like your generations, you'll be taught like this and you know things better. Maybe you'll be having a better technology exposure, so that is going to help you once you are going to be recruited from companies. So these companies will be going to take advantage of that, and they will give you more packages, or they hire you because you know that how you can operate in these difficult times. So this is all from my side, so we are open for questions.
Yeah, Harinath can take over.
Okay, thank you, Prashant sir. So we can open up the Q&A session. So if any of the participants is having any doubts, you can put that in chat or you can ask it directly. I think there is one pending question in the chat itself, which Hari Mohan had agreed to discuss in Q&A.
Yes, so Ash has asked me how did I prepare for DILR? Okay, so it's like, I mean, when I started my preparation, it was almost, VARC is mostly about your English, the level you have and how you have to improve. So in DILR, I would say what I did was I started taking the mock exams right from the beginning. It was somewhere around June, and we had mocks at least every week. So we used to get exposure to 8 different sets of questions every week in the initial stage, and this was actually a good turnover. I mean, in the initial stage, I wasn't able to do a lot of questions. So once the results were out and the solutions were out, we could look into all these questions and get different approaches on how to tackle these sets. So initially, that was how I prepared for DILR. And once my preparation intensified, I used many materials from PrepZone, CrackU. There are n number of materials that you can find on the net, and your coaching institute is going to give you a lot of material. So I would suggest that you should try different sets from different topics. There are n number of topics in DILR. I think you'll find your coaching institute will help you with this, and you should do at least say 100 set of questions in each of these topics. And I would say I have I don't know, I think I would have done around 1000 sets throughout my preparation, 1000 different DLR questions. And maybe this is proportional to the number of questions that you'll be solving for your preparation time. So but in my opinion, like I said, the most important part about DILR is your mindset during the exam or the mocks that you take. I mean, DILR can put you in a lot of pressure because these questions you might not be comfortable when you read them, and you might start to sweat a lot once the session starts. So it's important to keep a very cool and calm mind, and this is something that you can get through mocks. So a long story short, I would say take a lot of mocks in the terms of DLR. You should have a perfect strategy for yourself based on your speed and your all the skills that you intend, because no mentor can tell you, okay, you should follow this strategy, or not even the three of us can say this strategy is the best, because you should be able to devise the perfect strategy for yourself based on your speed and based on all your comprehension skills, etc. So yeah, I hope that answers the question. You can ask any further questions if that didn't clear up. And yes, is there any other question? And is there anything the others might want to add about DLR preparation?
Yes, Hari. I think what you mentioned is precisely true. What even I suggest everyone is to at least complete CL time and IMS 2017 to 2019 mocks. So all of these mocks are available on public platform in some Google Drives link, and these will be in the form of PDF. But yes, you can put down a timer. See, it is given that, like, even in actual CAT, there will be at least 2 to 3 sets which you may not be able to solve because you'll be seeing it for the very first time. And I think it is totally okay to drop 2 sets, but if you do immense number of practice, it is highly likely that you have already seen those remaining 5 to 6 varieties of sets. I'm very sure. So like one set definitely comes about arrangement. You have topics like games and tournaments, routes and networks, cubes, etc., etc. So if you have already practiced say 1000 sets, it is very likely that you would have already seen shortcuts, approaches, etc., etc. of the remaining 5-6 sets. And then I think solving this set in a span of 8 to 10 minutes, it's quite doable. So you'll be able to crack 5 to 6 sets if you have solved 1000 plus sets already.
And you should definitely listen to Shubham sir, because he had a 99.96 percentile in DILR in his CAT, which is an all India rank of under 100. So this guy can definitely help you with DILR. So are there any other questions? See, what I would like to add is you can ask any kind of questions, because the three of us, me, Namita and Aishwarya, we studied in CET, so we can relate to all the activities in CET. We know how things work in CET and how the preparation is, unconventional from our methodologies and campus. So we are free to ask any kind of questions. You can even type it in the chat box.
Yes, guys. We'll be open for Q&A for the next 10-15 minutes. So please make the most of this opportunity. Even these guys won't be available then. They have their B school starting and it's going to be really hectic for them. So take the most of this opportunity and ask anything you need to ask.
Okay, I think we have a question. Was it able to manage work life and the preparation together? Okay, so this is from Redmi. Okay, yeah. So anyway, does anyone want to take up this question? Aishwarya or Namita? Anyone?
Yeah, I think I can take it. Okay, so I was working in Wipro while I was managing the CAT preparation. And we had option to go for the coaching in the weekends. So what me and Hari and even Aishwarya did was we prepared for the CAT during the weekends, and during the weekdays we'd allot some time, maybe in the morning or in the evening, as and when required, so that we can practice these sectionals, different sectionals. And weekends we'd allot it to the mock exams and the analysis that we do for that. And I had actually a lot of hectic work when I was working in Wipro as well. So it was very difficult to manage in some periods. But the point is, you should never stop on your preparation. You should always continue, even though it can get sometimes it can get hectic. But you must make sure to at least spend maybe 1 or 2 hours daily, so that you don't lose that touch. And then I'm pretty sure you'll have some periods in your work when the workload will be reduced. So at that time, you should make the most of it. So that's what I did. And yeah, so if others, if you Hari and Aishwarya, if you have something to add, you can add to it as well.
There's something I'd like to add in managing work life and preparation. So you see, it's like you will have work for approximately 10 to 12 hours every day. I mean, for people who graduate from CET, and it's like we should, like Namita said, we were able to take apart some 2 or 3 hours every day for CAT preparation. And what you must understand is that you're signing up for a program like this. I mean, when the MPA starts, you should be able to dedicate more than 12 hours of every day for the activities in your B school. So this kind of preparation, managing work life and CAT together, is more like a seed preparation for the MBA course that you're signing up for. So it's good to get used to that kind of a rigor before going to a B school. So if you're working, I highly recommend that you do not quit or lose your job, and manage preparation together. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, one more thing what I'd like to add is I think CAT is pretty different from other exams like GATE or something, because it's not that you need to sit and study, you need to cover these kind of portions. It's more of English and math. It's not that you're studying new concepts or anything. You're just practicing them, you're just improving your accuracy and speed on the math and English questions that are coming. So I don't think it will be very, it won't be too much to handle it with work. I actually found it as it was a stress reliever for me. I mean, I really like solving these sets after my work hours. So yeah.
So there is one more question. How many months did it take for you guys for preparation? Geetika, Joni.
Okay, yeah. Sorry for that. Yeah. So, Geetika, the three of us, we started preparation towards June, I believe. But again, initially we were really doubtful about our CAT preparations. So I would say the serious preparation started maybe by August, no, by July end or something like that. And yeah, after that, when we took a lot of mocks and we realized that how much we had to work, it intensified, and yeah, that was how it went. Initially, I think we used to spend around 1 or 1.5 hours every day, but towards the end, we really, like I should have said, we got really interested to solve all the questions, and we spent, unbelievable hours every day to prepare for CAT. So I hope that covers your answer. I mean, it's difficult. It's different for many people and the kind of effort that they have to put in. Yeah. So does anyone else have to add into it? Okay, so I guess we'll take the next question. How close was your mock score, the actual CAT score? Very close. Very, very close. It's actually like our mock scores are, it was kind of deviating in the beginning. Like it was almost like a sine wave. Sometimes we had a very good score, more than anticipated. And sometimes it was very low that we, used to spend our weekends in despair. So towards the end, what happened was that initially the mocks are very difficult. I mean, if you're taking mocks right now, the initial stage of mocks are going to be very difficult and you won't be able to score really good marks. But towards the end, you'll realize that the mocks are actually more difficult than they really should be. And towards the end, the mocks will be very close to the actual CAT difficulty. And then you will be starting to score better. So towards the end, it was okay. Actually, towards the end, the scores were close, but initially we had scored very low marks. I was in my 60s or something. It was very bad percentile, and I came up with that. So that was my experience with mocks. Maybe Aishwarya or Namita can add into this.
Yeah, I'll nothing else much to add. It's the same that I had also felt. Initially, it was very low, but so that's what we really need to practice and improve each of these scores. Each time you do the mock, you should try to improve the scores, and eventually towards the end, like you said, it will resemble a lot like the CAT score itself. Yeah, that's all. So this is how it helps, in fact, analyzing the mocks. So yeah, that's it.
Should we take equal time for the three sections, or should we focus our time more on one particular section? See, that is a very subjective question, Rahul. I mean, you have to, take a few mocks and realize your stronger points. I mean, I don't think one can really say what one strong point would be unless taking a mock. I mean, once I started to take the mock, I realized that I was in the weaker side of VARC, and even my quant was not so good. So I had to give a lot of time on VARC and quant. So, it depends. You have to take a few mocks and you have to find the weaker section and spend more time on it, obviously. Yeah, and you will be available. A lot of sectional mocks will be available for each of these sections. So, depending on your performance, it's a very subjective question. Yeah.
Also, I think if this is about the preparation part, right? So if you're considering during the exam time, for CAT especially, they do have time limit, right, Hari, for each of the sections. So
Yes.
it is 1 hour for each section itself. So in that way, I mean, even if you can't like spend more than 1 hour for each section. That is for CAT. But there are other exams where there is no time limit for the different sections. For example, I think IAFT did not have different timing. So in that case, then it makes a difference. You have to analyze which you can score more and spend maybe more time in that, and make sure you can clear the cutoff in the other section. So it depends on the exam and and your strengths as well. That's it.
And also something else that I would like to add is, when I started taking mocks, I realized that I was very weak in VARC, the English part. So what I actually did was I tried my best to, cross the cutoff in VARC and try to improve my other sections better. So my VARC percentile was not so impressive, but my DLR and quant was at the high, which boosted my total to a really good overall percentile. So this is also something you can do. You can once you start preparing and you're in the middle of preparation, you don't see considerable progress in one of the sections, you can maybe say, okay, I need to score an 80 or 85 percentile or 90 percentile in this particular section, and I will try to bring up my other two sections. So this is another preparation strategy, but again, it was a subjective question. So okay, when starting from scratch. Yes, sir, you were saying something?
Yes. I just wanted to add one point to what Rahul had asked. So in my experience, I think that at least till 2 months before CAT, you should focus more on the sections which you are weaker at, so that you at least clear the sectional cutoff. I had a few friends who scored 100 percentile. Who scored 100 percentile in CAT. One was Mukesh Goel. So his sectional, he basically wrote CAT 2 times, and in both the years, his score was 100 percentile, but he did not have a single call from any tier 1 or tier 2 B school. Reason being, his sectional score was VRC 61, DLR 100, Quant 100, overall 100. So don't make this mistake. I'll always advise that unless you have all the minimum 3 sections, at least above 85 to 90 percentile, don't focus much on overall mock. Focus more on at least clearing that sectional cutoff of at least 85 to 90 score. Once you are doing good, maybe by the month of September onwards, you can start focusing on maximizing your score by focusing more on the strength wala topic, be it quant, DLR or verbal for you. And at this month, I think 2 mocks per week should be a target, and 1 sectional every day of the topics that you're weak in. Yes, that's pretty much. Harimon, you can take the next question.
So when starting from scratch, spend more time studying or solving problems. It's from Arshad. Okay, I think Aishwarya can take this question.
I think, as I said earlier, there's not much to study actually. Most of the topics we're already familiar with most of the topics that come in the CAT syllabus. I think solving problems should be the approach, because what we are basically doing is improving our accuracy and speed, and building a better strategy. So yeah. Would someone else like to add something?
Yeah, so Arshad, what I would like to add is, in the quantitative section in CAT, there is this particular chapter called, time and distance. And, if you want to study about time and distance, we have only one equation in that. What distance is equal to speed into time. So if you're studying the concept, it's that simple. But once we start solving the problems, we realize that these guys who set up the questions for CAT, they just want to test us on all nerves. So they, bend all the questions. They make us think through, different perspectives. So if you want to study the concepts, it's something that we've been studying since our, 7th or 8th grade. We might be familiar with all the concepts, like Aishwarya said. But again, the kind of problems that these guys, put for CAT, that is what we must practice in. So that is my take on this.
So any more question, guys? Anyone is having any more questions?
Please feel free to ask any questions. No question is a stupid question. What extra prep has done for IFT? So Namita, that is your forte.
Okay. Hi, Ash. Okay, so thanks for the question. I didn't do anything extra really for IAFT. We have a separate section called General Awareness or GK. So there's something, so you just have to brush up on your current affairs as well, because they would ask some questions and there's a cutoff for that. So that is something that you might have to prepare for an extra for IAFT. Other than that, the rest of the sections are similar. This year, I mean, the 2019 exam, they had changed the format a bit, and that we weren't prepared for. Since that is something that is applicable to all the exams, since it's online, they can keep changing the formats. You have to be prepared for whatever they can provide you. And yeah, so that's it. I mean, it was 1 week right after CAT is what I believe. Yeah. So I was still fresh from the CAT preparation. So I just tried some previous question papers from IAFT. And then I tried doing the mock exams and seeing if I can clear off the separate cutoffs. Maths, I think quantitative was almost similar to, yeah, quantitative and the rest of the sections are almost similar itself. But since I told there's no separate sectional cutoff, so in case you are strong in a section, you can try to maximize the scores in that, and the rest you can try to make sure that you at least clear the cutoff. It's in a good margin to clear the cutoff. So in that way, you can really score well for IAFT. Just make sure that your GK is also, you know, up to date. It's a minimum cutoff. It has only, I think you just have to answer like 3 or 4 questions to clear the cutoff. It keeps changing every year, like I said, but 5 or 6 questions, you should be absolutely safe. And the questions that are set in GK is made in such a way that everyone can answer at least, you know, 1 or 2 questions. For example, in my 2019, I think 2019-2018 paper, there was a question which asked to list the different ports in Kerala. And if since we are from Kerala, I was able to quickly identify that. So they make sure that people can answer different questions. So other than that, other than CAT preparation, I didn't have to do much extra for IAFT. I hope that answers the question. That's all I have to answer for this.
And also, I think every other B school exam has GK as a section, right, Namita? I think that's the case.
Yes, a lot. I mean, XLRI has a separate for DM decision making. There are different exams which are different sections, but GK is there, yes, for a lot of the other examinations. That you should also prepare for that.
Yes, and also like most of us, we are scared of this section called GK. I mean, most of us are not so good with GK, and that is something you know, it's okay because our competition, like every student in India is weak in GK. So that is why if we have 40 or 50 questions of GK in a particular exam, the cutoff is just 3 or 4 questions. So the idea is to attempt only the questions that you know and clear the cutoff. And you know, just don't take a hit at all the questions, and you might have got 5 or 6 questions right, but you got 10 or 15 negatives which didn't make you clear the cutoff. So the idea of GK in most of these B school entrance exams is to attempt only the questions you know and clear the cutoff. The scoring part is basically the other sections, unless you are good in GK, which is a rare case, I believe.
Actually, Harry, I would like to add one more point. Actually, most of the exams don't have a negative marking in just this GK section, because as you said, everybody knows that we are not so good in GK. So most of the exams don't have a negative marking.
Yeah, that is correct. IAFT did not have negative marking. Just for
I think XLRA also doesn't have. TISNET also doesn't have a negative marking. Just for the GK section. Yeah.
Okay. So guys, any other questions?
So if we are not having any further questions, we can wind up the session.
Yes.
Okay.
So like one last thing I would like to say is about PrepZone, because you know, the thing that's unique about PrepZone is that you know, every other institute, they'll have the same kind of materials and the same kind of, you know, mocks and all the preparation strategies. But what I found from my experience in PrepZone was that the individual attention that you get from the mentors. I mean, these guys are going to be behind you. They're going to nag you if you don't study. They're just going to keep on WhatsApping you unless you people. So they are going to give you the right amount of push to prepare for CAT. And I think that is a very integral part in your preparation to get motivated throughout the process. I mean, initially you're going to score in the 50s or 60 percentiles. You're going motivated so bad. So you know say that it is quite natural, and you have to keep practicing, and you wouldn't know when you start to score really good. I know people who started to score good in the last month of their preparation, and scored a great percentile. So it's good to have a really good, really motivating mentor.
Harry, I think you're on mute.
Okay. Okay, I don't know how long
Yes.
I was.
Only the last line was missing, Hari.
Last part, yeah, that's the last part.
Yeah, so I was saying the fees was what actually first attracted me to PrepZone, actually the three of us. But again, after joining PrepZone, we realized how the mentors could contribute to our preparation. And, if you are someone who has decided to do CAT, then I think PrepZone can really help you. I mean, if you have that kind of a determination, then they will give you the right amount of resources and motivation to do the best. Yeah, so that was what I wanted to add. I guess there are no more questions, right? So Hari,
I think we can wind up the session, right?
Okay.
Thank you guys
so much,
for joining.
Hariman, Aishwarya, Namita, and Harinath to join and to get time out of your busy schedules. I know. And thank you so much, students. I'm sure we'll stay in touch, and good luck for your CAT examination. All the best.
Thank you, sir, and all the best to everyone for CAT 2020.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you, and all the best.
All the best.
Bye-bye.